live from the Big 12 tournament and doing fantastic work is ESPN college basketball analyst and insider Sean Farnham, who joins us now. Sean, I would like to apologize that the BYU-Texas Tech game kind of set the tone for a day that was uneventful basketball in large part yesterday.
Spence, we didn't miss any threes.
I just feel bad for a fellow broadcaster because I know how difficult that is. Sean, what do you expect today on semifinal Friday after kind of an unexciting Thursday of basketball?
Well, first of all, I thought you were going to apologize for the way your voice sounds. I mean, usually it's the guys that are on site, that are working all day long on site, that have their voice go, not the guy back in studio that looks very well rested. Well, Jarom and I are exhausted and, doing our thing. But, hey, that's okay. You're the guy that lost the voice. All right, cool.
It makes total sense.
It just keeps adding up for me. I'm just like, oh, yeah, I got this. It's funny because you come into yesterday's games and really a lot of high expectations that we were going to have some competitive matchups. In particular, I did think that the BYU-Texas Tech matchup was going to be a lot more competitive than it was. And even with the slow start, I thought, okay, hit a couple threes because the three-point shot is so dangerous that you hit a couple threes and all of a sudden they're right back into the game. And then we'll see how they apply the pressure. And there was that moment for one brief second in the second half where the run was made and then it was bang three, and the game was over again. And that kind of set the tone for the rest of the day. I mean, it got to a point where I literally wondered if TCU was going to score in the first 20 minutes against Houston. And so tricks of the trade, just so everybody knows at home. When you're doing set and stuff like that, and you've got your IFB, you can listen to the game. Walk the circle around the arena. Just take a couple laps.
Yes.
Get the blood flowing a little bit, because otherwise when you're watching a game that you already know the outcome 3.5 minutes into it, and then you've got to bring energy at halftime, you got to fill a 30-minute show after the game and make it sound like it was awesome. That becomes a little bit more challenging. So you got to get the blood flowing a little bit. So it was a tough day from the let's manufacture some excitement about what we're seeing right now. And it was a day that leads us to tonight where, as you guys mentioned, it's very chalky. And I think that we're going to have two competitive games. I hope so. I hope we have two competitive games. I think we will. I think the late one definitely will.
Any concern about carryover for BYU to the NCAA tournament? Or do you think they'll do what they've done, which is what we argued, which is they bounced back really well after some disappointing losses this year?
It means nothing. Honestly, it means nothing. You lose a game in your conference tournament and you get reseeded on Sunday in another bracket where you're 0-0 and everybody is 0-0. What matters on Sunday is the style of play and the matchups that potentially could await BYU and every other team that's selected. I mean, when I was a player at UCLA, we used to look, and the first thing we all did in the locker room was circle one team that could beat us. And we knew who that team was. And sometimes you overestimate or underestimate your opponent a little bit. I did that also at UCLA my junior year when we lost to Detroit Mercy with a backcourt of Baron Davis and Earl Watson for UCLA. We lost to Detroit Mercy in the first round because we were all like, Detroit Mercy, ha! When they zoned us the entire game, and we're like, our zone offense isn't really good. So I think that's what you have to look for. I mean, it really is, guys. Like I listened to you guys go through the last segment and talking about potential matchups and Grand Canyon and whether or not you could see Irvine, and whether you're in Salt Lake or whether you're in Pittsburgh. I will tell you this, sometimes it's better to be further away from home.
Interesting.
All right, and the reason why is it makes the event. When you're close to home, if they were to go to Salt Lake, the amount of ticket requests, the noise, the surrounding pressure of being there and winning adds another element to it. If you go to Pittsburgh, you're freed up. It's you and whoever's coming with you. You've got your 5 tickets, your 6 tickets, whatever it may be, that you get to have in the NCAA tournament, and it's road warrior mentality. Let's go get one, and it's us against the world kind of thing. And I think that sometimes that can free you up. And I always found that when we played tournament games further away from home, we played better. But that's also because our team kind of like to have that chip on the shoulder. When I watch this BYU team, I think this is a BYU team that likes to have the chip on their shoulder. Sometimes it's self-manufactured, but they like to have the chip on their shoulder and they like to play with an edge. And sometimes if you go to someone else's house like they did when they went to Kansas, you can kind of reignite that fire as you get started here in the NCAA tournament.
Sean Farnham of ESPN is with us on BYU Sports Nation.
I get from a fan perspective, by the way, why everybody wants them in Salt Lake. So I'm not dumb to that. I'm just telling you that it does add a different dimension and pressure to this team.
No, you bring up some great and very valid points. And there's some reality to that of BYU having shown that they can rally together and win a game like they did at Kansas when nobody gave them a chance. We'll get to, where you think BYU will end up ultimately on Selection Sunday in just a moment, but I want to ask one more question as it pertains to yesterday's performance by the Cougars. And because a lot of BYU fans were saying, well, look, the blueprint's out there for how to beat BYU, and gosh, it's just, maybe some teams have figured out their kryptonite. Sean, I'm convinced that every team in America has a kryptonite of not making open threes. Like, I feel like BYU lost the game not because Texas Tech was so overwhelmingly amazing on defense, and correct me if I'm wrong, like they did some good things to make BYU get sped up in the first half, but ultimately BYU just didn't make shots. Is it fair to say that BYU was not in the game because they didn't make open shots?
No. They got punched.
Okay.
They got punched yesterday. Okay. And they didn't punch back. They got socked early in that game, and Texas Tech, I think, from that first matchup when BYU was up 17 and responded, that was a punch in that game in which Texas Tech rallied back to win that game. And that's a game that probably BYU should have won. I think we all agree on that over the course of the regular season. And I think that they felt coming into this game that the discussion point would be about how BYU should have won that game. And they used that as a chip on their shoulder, and they came out and they got to them. And yeah, they missed shots, but there's a reason why the shots were missed. I mean, some of them were wide open, but if you watch that game, who was the more physical team? Who was the more aggressive team?
Oh, it was Texas Tech for sure, especially in the first half.
So that's what sets the tone for the game. Then all of a sudden you start rushing your release a little bit because you know you need the three-point shot that much more, and you've got a little blank open space, and you don't get a lot of open space, and so you got to take it when you have it. So while those are open threes, you're rushing your release a little bit, and that's why you end up missing, and you end up going 7 of 35 from three. You shoot 20%. Like that's an aberration, right? Especially considering the fact that you hit 14 three-pointers the day before. And if you look at the numbers over the course of the season, one of the best three-point shooting teams in the country. It's not a kryptonite to understand what BYU wants to do. By the way, everybody understands what everybody wants to do right now at this point in time of the season. Yes. There are no secrets in college basketball. Everybody's laid to tape at least 30 college basketball games. So there is no secret. There's no all of a sudden like, okay, guys, here's what we're going to do. We're not going to shoot the three at all now. And we're going to surprise everybody because we're going to drive and we're going to post up every single possession and go high-low entry pass. No, that's not what they're going to do. So everybody knows what BYU is going to do. The difference is understanding how to stop it. And I think it is easier when you face an opponent multiple times to understand how you can be disruptive, as far as disruptive of the timing. Sometimes it's the angle of the pass. Sometimes it's how the pass is received by the shooter. And when that's thrown off a little bit because of ball pressure or because they had to run off a screen a little bit differently because of the way Texas Tech was fighting over it, you're seeing an open shot. I'm seeing a change in rhythm. And so I think I saw that yesterday, especially early on in the game. What I would hearken back to for BYU fans would be, let's go back to the non-conference. How did the Cougars look in the non-conference against teams that were unfamiliar with them?
Incredible.
Okay. So I think that's what you're looking at. So this test of the Big 12 wasn't just to get a 5 seed, get a home color uniform, maybe a 6 seed. It's designed to be battle tested, to understand the rigors of what it's going to take to win games come March. And certainly they have gone through those wars, and now they are ready for the battle that they've been waiting for all season long. And the job that Mark Pope and this team has done to get themselves into this position is outstanding. And that should be celebrated by all BYU fans. And now you should be excited about the opportunity to play against opponents that aren't familiar and don't understand that you're not just a three-point shooting team. We talk about a three-point shooting team, but this BYU team can be very physical. And teams look at them and go, oh, they're not a physical group of guys. Look at them. And then also you go out on the floor and Richie Saunders is like sharpened up his elbows again with like a cue ball before he comes out. You know, and you get a little elbow in the back and you're like, oh, who is that? And then the guy with the headband, he just did that to me. You know, but that's the reality of playing BYU. And I think teams are going to feel that. And I think that helps them come the NCAA tournament. But so, guys, this is the most difficult part of the week for me. As the broadcaster, because everybody wants to know how their team's going to fare in the NCAA tournament. I don't have a bracket. I can't tell you. Let me see on Sunday what the matchups look like, and then we can have a conversation. Right now, you can look at Joey brackets. You can look at Jerry Palm. You can go to all the websites and bring up any mock NCAA tournament bracket that you want. At the end of the day, you know, when Selection Sunday comes out and you hear dun 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 dun, welcome to the CBS Selection Show. That's when you're going to know who they're playing and what the potential matchups are going to actually be.
Okay, at this Big 12 tournament, Sean, who do you feel like is going to win this thing Saturday night?
I think Iowa State's going to win it. I think that the potential matchup between two amazingly good defenses that are very physical and can turn you over. I mean, Iowa State last night, they turned them over 35% of their possessions against Kansas State. 35% of their possessions ended in turnovers. All right, let's couple that with the missed shots. And now you're looking at like 65% of their possessions were empty. That's incredible. You're going to win a lot of games when you do that. And I like Iowa State. I think, obviously, it's a game that you have to be physical. And I think Robert Jones can match that physicality of Roberts underneath. And I think Lipsey can match up with Jamal Shed. I think that's as good as a game as you're going to find in Champ Week if that's the one that we end up getting. Now, that doesn't mean that Baylor can't make shots from the outside today and shoot over the top and make sure that they control the ball. But I do anticipate right now, Iowa State, the way they played last night, and Houston, the way that, I mean, TCU, poor TCU, that they didn't let TCU score. They're like, no, you cannot score yet. Fine, you can score now. 11 minutes in the game. Go ahead, you can score. You know, I think they're just on a different playing field right now.
All right, Sean, as we wrap up, I do need to ask you, I know you're not going to prognosticate because you don't have a bracket yet, but do you straight up, yes or no, feel like BYU's resume has earned a 5 seed? Or do you feel like they could legitimately slide down lower than that?
Is that because I made the Paula Abdul reference yesterday about Wake Forest? Is that why you said straight up?
Straight up now, tell me, Sean. Are you really going to love BYU forever?
Me together. No, let me say, I would go, yeah, I think it's a 5 seed. I think it's a 5 seed. I will tell you this. I am interested, and I'm hearing some things, you know, this conversation about manipulating the metrics seems to be something that has gained a little bit of momentum in the last week or so. And the non-conference strength of schedule, if there is any reason that you see BYU on the 6th, it will be because of their non-conference schedule and the strength and the lack thereof in their non-conference. The Big 12 overall did not have a strong non-conference schedule, and very few teams actually scheduled up. And I think that there might be some resentment when it comes out on Selection Sunday, and we'll see if that holds true.
All right, great stuff. Hey, we know that you're going to up your suit game later tonight. We'll be watching as
suit game will be good. So Joe's. I'm going to Joe's Barbecue right now. It's going to be outstanding.
Let's go, man. Hey, enjoy that meal. We appreciate you making time for us, and have some fun, man. Hopefully the games are exciting for you tonight.
Please be good.
Sean Farnham of ESPN on BYU Sports Station. Really fun, interesting conversation as the Cougars push into Selection Sunday. Thanks, Sean.
No worries, guys.